everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the strangest and most haunting events in history, the Strasbourg dancing plague of 1518. If you have ever heard of the term dancing mania or thought of spontaneous dance outbreak, this is the story that you're looking for. A town hundreds of years ago was thrown into chaos as people danced uncontrollably to their deaths. It sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, but it happened. It all started in July 1518 in Strasbourg, which at the time was part of the Holy Roman Empire, now known as modern-day France. The first person to fall victim to this bizarre phenomenon was a woman named Frau Traffa. One day she stepped into the street and began dancing. At first this seemed like a weird one-off situation, but as days passed it became much more. Frau Traffa danced and danced until she collapsed from exhaustion, but when she recovered, she started up again. This wasn't just some small spectacle. Within a week, more than 30 people had joined her. They danced, twirled, and gyrated uncontrollably, many of them unable to stop. Some estimates claim that the number grew to over 400 people by the time the plague peaked in August. The local authorities were baffled. At first they thought the dancers were simply suffering from some kind of madness, so they called upon physicians to explain the phenomenon. The physicians had an explanation of their own. They claimed that the dancing was caused by hot blood, and their solution was to allow the affected to keep dancing in hopes to burn off the fever. To make matters worse, the city even hired professional dancers and musicians to quote-unquote encourage the mania to continue. They built stages and a band played lively tunes to keep the dancers going. It was almost like a grotesque carnival, but instead of fun and joy, it became a dangerous and tragic spectacle. But this backfired. As more people joined in, many collapsed from exhaustion, and others suffered fatal strokes or heart attacks. In fact, some died during the mania itself. The episode continued for weeks, and it didn't finally stop until early September 1518, when the dancers were taken to a mountaintop shrine to pay for forgiveness from Saint Vitus, a Catholic saint believed to be the pardon of dancers. Now you must be wondering, why did this happen? Was it some kind of curse or divine punishment? Or was there something more grounded at play? One popular theory points to Saint Vitus, who was associated with epilepsy and dancing. Many people at the time believed that the failing to appease Saint Vitus could have led to being cursed with a quote-unquote dancing plague, where people couldn't stop moving. The stressed and the weary population of Strasbourg, already suffering from diseases, famine, and social upheaval, might have fallen victim to this widespread superstition. With this in mind, people might have felt that their only way to seek forgiveness was to dance, despite their horrific consequences. Another theory is more scientific. Some believe that the dancers may have ingested ergot, a toxic mold that grows on damp rye. This mold produces hallucinogenic properties, and when consumed, it can cause symptoms like spasms, hallucinations, and in severe cases, death. Ergot poisoning could have led to the bizarre behavior and physical toll on the dancers. Historians like John Waller, an expert in mass hysteria, believe that this event could have been a form of mass psychogenic illness, also known as mass hysteria. The residents of Strasbourg were under immense psychological strain, facing disease outbreaks, famine, and the social chaos of the time. Such stress can sometimes trigger mass outbreaks of uncontrollable behavior. This was likely compounded by local fears, including the belief that Saint Vitus was punishing people for their sins. The dancing plague of 1518 was not an isolated incident. Similar dancing epidemics have been documented in the centuries leading up to this one, particularly along the Rhine River. There were reports of people suddenly dancing uncontrollably in cities across Europe, sometimes resulting in death. The 1518 outbreak, however, was by far the most deadly and the most thoroughly documented. Interestingly, these types of pneumonia weren't limited to dancing alone. In the 20th century, psychologists and sociologists have noted cases of mass hysteria manifesting in different forms. For example, the Taganiki laughing epidemic in 1963, where hundreds of people uncontrollably laughed for days, showing how stress and emotional triggers can lead to collective psychological episodes. Some modern-day parallels can be found in the rave culture, where partygoers sometimes dance for hours or even days, driven by music and the overwhelming urge to move. occasionally at the cost of their health. While modern rave culture may be far less extreme, it does raise interesting questions about how group psychology and stress can cause people to act in the ways they wouldn't individually. As we wrap up today's video, the story of the 1518 Strasbourg dancing plague still remains a mystery in many ways. Was it mass hysteria, a curse from St. Vitus, or simply the result of toxic mold? We may never know the full truth. What we do know is that this is a fascinating and haunting chapter in the history of human behavior. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as chilling and fascinating as I did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment below with your thoughts or any other historical events you would like me to cover. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. Until next time, keep exploring the unknown.